Shove it, squad. I think by now it's clear to all of us that TNA in the Asylum was crazier than the Hawk on Herbie Worms, which is why from now on these reviews will come with a crazy counter. It's either that or I smack the founder. On the last episode, AJ Styles became a double champion, adding the Tag Team Championship to his X Division Championship. Shout out to whoever decided to push him off the bat. Slapnuts has been sulking because he hasn't been given a world title shot yet, and he's beating everybody up. Ken Shamrock starts out the show by screaming at Goldilocks in a park, calling her a bitch. I don't think he's very happy. It was a bit uncalled for. The main event tonight will be a ladder match between Jeff Jarrett and Malice, with the winner being the #1 contender for the world title. Backstage, Hall and Jarrett are fighting. Hall has a top with a rainbow on it, so I think maybe he's a fan of the Rainbow Express. Someone then screams that Jarrett has forfeited the match tonight, and they take Jeff out the building. Good riddance. Father James Mitchell brings the Disciples of the New Church out to the ring. Mitchell announces that although Jarrett has been taken out the building, he still wants Malice to fight someone and issues an open challenge. The lights go out, and when they come back on, Sabu is in the ring making his TNA debut. So we've got a ladder match here for the #1 contendership. Sabu starts out with a DDT and follows that with a Sabu type move. You know, one of them ones. Malice uses his strength advantage and then gets a steel chair. Sabu sweeps his legs out and Malice crashes onto the chair. Sabu jumps off the chair, but Malice catches him and hits a backbreaker. Malice then chucks Sabu into the chair, and then the New Church help him gain a bigger advantage. Then Malice goes for some sort of move and crashes into Sabu, but it doesn't go well and he falls out the ring. V and Fuzo is back in the crowd again this week. And if you like the words that come out of my asshole, make sure you subscribe and shut up and smack that bell icon. Sabu hits a springboard out of the ring. The New Church keep interfering though, and Sabu throws Tempest into V and Fuzo. Malice throws Sabu into the ladder and his nose bursts open. Malice is absolutely killing Sabu and he splashes him on the ladder. Then, oh wow, he picks up the ladder and Sabu at the same time and slams them both. The crowd goes nuts. What a move. Malice is really dominating and smacks Sabu in the back with the chair. Malice picks up the ladder and literally seconds later Sabu is up again and he takes Malice down. He follows that up with a big leg drop. Good match we're having here. Sabu tries to reach the contract but Malice powerbombs him from the ladder. Don West says that Sabu is so ugly that he could be a member of the New Church. Malice picks Sabu up and hits an overhead belly to belly onto the ladder. Dan was not expecting such a good matchup here. This is better than if Slapnuts had been in the match, that's for sure. Malice climbs the ladder, but somehow Sabu is still alive and he drop kicks the ladder. Sabu then creams Malice by throwing a chair at his face. What a noise it makes, and then he jumps off the chair. Sabu finally takes Malice down properly by jumping from the top with the ladder. The Church keep interfering though, and this gives Malice a chance to get back on his feet. Sabu hits multiple chair shots, but he can't take Malice down, who hits him with a spinebuster. Out of nowhere, Sabu pushes Malice off the ladder, and he flies out the ring and smashes into a table. That is crazy for someone of his size. Sabu climbs the ladder and wins the match. For some reason, the Church didn't stop him despite interfering earlier in the match. The Church beat him down after the match because they're bad losers. I really think that the wrong guy went over here. Malice was starting to click with the audience. Where does he go from here? Malice then chokeslams Sabu off the ring apron and through a table. To the back, and Jarrett is still arguing with the NWA officials. Just get rid of him. AJ Styles then randomly walks out with a microphone. This is his first ever in-ring promo in TNA. It doesn't last long though because Jerry Lynn comes out to threaten him. Jerry Lynn explains that he attacked AJ Styles because he doesn't pay his dues. He's basically just jealous of the success that Styles is having. Styles attacks him and gives him the Styles Clash. These two are tag champions who don't get on, and it doesn't look good for whenever their next defence is. In the back, Goldilocks is talking about Jasmine. Keep your feathers on, Sinclair. Alright, Hawkeye, we might not need a censor yet. Then Francine randomly attacks her in the lavatories, and then turns to shower rod. Oh, for God's sake, what's your problem? Don't you like panties, Hawkeye? We get a match next. It's Ron the Truth, and he's coming out, but he's still billed as K-Crush. He cuts a promo about how he should be a star, and he complains about having to fight the NASCAR driver on the last show. Truth then complains about the WWE letting him go. He says they only let him go because they were scared of how big a star he would have been. He says he's not an angry black man, he's just the truth. He's in a match next and he's taking on Norman Smiley. Just like Norman's last match on the last episode, he gets a lot of offense in. It's not a straightforward squash match. There's a double down after a bad looking backdrop. Smiley is just showing off though. Truth then randomly wins the match with a front suplex. Not much of a match, he does a lot of talking but he's not really backing it up, he's just scraping his wins. Truth takes off his belt and then beats Smiley with it. Bit harsh. Truth is busy hanging Smiley when an old lady runs out to make the save. Apparently this is Norman Smiley's wife. Is that really his wife? It was such a random run-in. Backstage, Goldilocks interviews Puppet the Midget Killer, who's in a bin. He insinuates that he's pleasuring himself. He says he's got PMS, Piss Midget Syndrome. Goldie says that she's had enough and as soon as her music career takes off, she's done. Down the corridor, the Dups are on drugs. Stand-Up says that she has some pretty lips and he ain't talking about the ones on her face. On a side note, TNA have actually listened to me and we've got some new cage dancers tonight. Next up, we have the best theme in pro wrestling, along with Sonny Siaki and Jorge Estrada. Siaki doesn't really seem to be into the Elvis gimmick though as much as Jorge. They're taking on Christopher Daniels and Elix Skipper. Sonny Siaki hits a Samoan drop, but I'm okay with this because he's Samoan. Siaki leaves his partner to talk on the mic about how much he loves himself, and then he starts talking about how stupid his partner looks. Skipper is really getting battered by the Elvises, but Sonny Siaki goes back to join the commentary team again. Skipper runs off Daniel's back and then springs onto Jorge's back and lands on Siaki to hit a Hurricanrana. Damn, Skipper's great. I wish he'd got a chance in the WWE. Imagine him in those Money in the Bank ladder matches. I think he would have put Shelton Benjamin to shame. Shelton was always the one to look out for in those matches because of the creative things he would do. I think Skipper could have done better though. This is a pretty good match anyway. You've got 3 guys doing crazy cruiserweight moves, and then you've got Sonny Siaki hitting some high impact power moves. Skipper hits the playmaker, but the referee's distracted, and unfortunately for him, Sonny Siaki sneaks in and nails the Siakalypse Now for the 3. Suddenly, Stand Up and Shut Up run out and randomly take out Jorge with a board, but Siaki doesn't bother helping his partner. One of the midgets is seen dancing in a stripper's cage. Why? I don't know. Goldilocks is backstage talking to the Truth, and then Scott Hall attacks him. Hall has vowed to take out Truth, Jerry's Kid and Slapnuts. Next up, a midget comes out who looks like the obese 8-year-old Indian boy when he made his one-time TNA appearance. Apparently this man is the world's fattest midget. He's taken on the midget killer who was in a bin recently. I'm not a fan of midget wrestling. If I was, I'd watch AEW. Joking, I've never seen it before. You can shove it, you keyboard warriors, and pipe down or I'll smack you one. They fight over a shopping cart, using a bag of flour and a watermelon. The Psycho Dwarf tries to hit a Van Daminator, but it doesn't look very good. This goes on for a very long time. The Psycho Dwarf wins with a splash onto a chair. Can we please stop these midget matches now? Talking of midgets, the one who's in the cage has stolen the stripper's bra for some reason. Jasmine Sinclair comes out to the ring next. She's still soaking wet, even though it was about 20 minutes ago that she was in the shower. JB and Brian Stifler fight over who's going to help her into the ring. Jasmine calls out Francine. She's wearing jeans, Hawkeye. You might not be needed. Alright. You can smack me one. She rips Francine's top off. Sorry guys, the Hawk hates nudity because to a bird, boobs are nothing but crudity. Francine retaliates and strips Jasmine to her underwear. The Blue Meanie then runs out to make his debut. He makes the save and he's looking a lot slimmer than the last time I saw him. He hits a DDT on Francine. He's here because he was married to Jasmine Sinclair at the time, I guess. It really feels like an episode of ECW. They take Francine away on a stretcher. She's crying and they insinuate that she has a broken neck. Low Ki is out now to challenge for the X Division title. The champion is AJ Styles, born and raised in the USA. This should be a good match. In fact, quite a lot of wrestling on this show today. It was this match when I realised that the lack of replays is really annoying. I look away for a second and I miss something and there's no replay, so I have to watch the video back again. Something's just off in this match. It's missing some intensity. Styles misses his spiral tap. Low Ki shoves him into the corner instead of hitting the key crusher, and then AJ flips into a beautiful DDT reversal. Low Ki jumps from the top and AJ catches him and hits a Styles clash. Yeah, I thought this one would be better. AJ wins. AJ is celebrating, but out of nowhere Jerry Lynn runs out with a thunderous spear. Lynn hits a pile driver on Styles in the middle of the ring and leaves him laying. Lynn then fetches a ladder and suplexes Styles onto it. These two have got a team with each other next week. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work when they've got a blood feud going on. The next thing we have is Jerry's Kid coming out to cut a shoot promo about his dad's paedophilia. It's pointless because TNA are never going to bring the King in. I can't buy into this guy as a main eventer, he's just a goofball. He's supposed to be taking on Scott Hall, but instead he carries on his rant while Scott Hall stands behind him. He's literally behind him for 2.5 minutes. What the hell is wrong with him? How does he not notice for that long? He must be high. I've reviewed this match before for Ring of the Hawk on my Scott Hall video. Lawler beats up the much bigger Scott Hall for ages whilst he almost has a mental breakdown over the Jerry's Kid chants. Hall is about to put Jerry's Kid away, but the truth runs out. Hall smacks him out the ring and hits the Razor's Edge on Jerry's Kid for the 3. Not that much to say. Truth runs back into the ring to attack Hall, but Lawler hits him in the nutsack 3 times. Bit excessive, don't you think? They use Truth's belt to continue assaulting Hall's nutsack. Truth then hangs Hall across the ropes until security break it up. Hall is screwed, so they put him on a stretcher like 2 weeks ago. And also like 2 weeks ago, Slapnuts then runs out and attacks him on the stretcher and throws him off it. The commentary team asks how Jeff got back in the building. Apparently dressing as a paramedic gives you an invisibility cloak. Who would have thought it? Not much of a buzz on this second half of this show. Let's see how it picks up on the next episode of TNA. Well, show 2 starts out with Jarrett, so it's not starting out better, is it? He beats up security with a steel chair. He's still moaning about not getting a world title shot, despite doing literally nothing to deserve one. He hasn't won a single match. In the back, Shamrock is beating up security who are trying to block him from going to the ring. Shamrock locks the security out the building. Then, for some reason, bodybuilder Ian Harrison is there, and Shamrock tells him to guard the door. This guy had a brief undefeated run in the XWF, which was a failed wrestling promotion between ECW and WCW going bust and TNA forming. In the ring, an NWA nerd tells Jarrett that he's suspended for 60 days. Jarrett smashes him in the head with a steel chair. This is just like Stone Cold Steve Austin in the Attitude Era. Shamrock charges out to the ring. Monty Brown and Apollo then come out to help break it up, but Slapnuts hits Shamrock with a steel chair. We got a match up next. It's Amazing Red making his TNA debut. I love this guy, but he just lacks so much charisma, and he's taking on Low Ki. Red has Low Ki's number for the early going until a huge kick kills Amazing Red. I was talking to Brother Peace the other day about how cruiserweight moves back then look so much more impactful and devastating. I don't know quite why that is. Low Ki gets on top with the submission. Not sure why he stopped doing this move, I rated it. Low Ki knocks Amazing Red's stupid hat off to reveal a ginger afro. I can see why he had the hat on now. It's so weird seeing Red look like this. It looks like I'm watching a completely different wrestler. He looks like Ronald McDonald. He hits the code red, but Low Ki kicks out at 2. This match is far better than the Styles match last week. They just click so much better. Red misses the infrared from the top and then Low Ki puts him away with the key crusher. Good match. Jarrett is backstage talking to the bodybuilder and he calls him Joe Steroid. Steroid replies by saying, "I don't have the time to deal with a Nashville wanker." The Hot Shots are out next, but they still haven't squeezed their junk. Cassidy O'Reilly gets the mic and says,
"We're bricks, we're proud, and we are protruding."
Oh great, it finally happened. What an amazing gimmick, there you go guys. The greatest gimmick in all of wrestling history. Reportedly after seeing this, Vince McMahon was desperate to sign these guys. Storm and Harris are finally back and they're being interviewed by Goldilocks backstage. Harris is smoking a cigarette and James Storm is nuts. Goldie reveals that it was the Hot Shots who attacked them and took them out of the tag team tournament a few weeks ago. I love this interview, but it's clear that Harris thinks Storm's gimmick sucks.
Tonight you get the opportunity to get them in the ring.
Woo-hoo, dog it! And tonight we're gonna teach those crews a lesson.
This gimmick of yours, I've told you this before, it sucks.
Gimmick? What you talking about, gimmick, Chris?
This whole cowboy gimmick sucks. Nobody cares anymore. No more of this Stan Hansen crap, okay? Do not bring those cap guns to the ring with you tonight.
Cap guns? What are you talking about, cap guns? Whoa, it's going down in Tulsa tonight. Have fun, little lady.
The future AMW then come out to have the match. It starts out hot and Storm falls to his knees and Harris runs off him to hit a nice spear. Cassidy O'Reilly tries to hit a move on the concrete floor, but he's too weak to remove the mats. Jeff Hardy's stoner friend is laughing at the Hot Shots' new gimmick on commentary. I don't blame him. Chase Stevens tries to hit a moonsault, but Storm moves out the way and Stevens still lands on his back. Chris Harris wins the match with a Northern Light suplex. The Hot Shots attack after the match and hit an awful double team move. His super kick completely missed him, for God's sake. The Hot Shots steal James Storm's cap guns, but they don't shoot anybody, they just pistol whip them. Goldilocks is backstage interviewing yet another doctor who's just trying to do his job. Shamrock is yelling and he flips out. He's beginning to become more and more like the Attitude Era Ken Shamrock. We get a match up next. It's Apollo, who last time teamed up with Buff Bagwell. Last time they lost, and this caused Bagwell to quit TNA.
I'm a 6-time world tag team champion, and I just got beat by 2 gay guys. And you know what else I want to do right now?
What's that?
I want to go home.
And he's taken on Jerry's kid. Lawler chokes Apollo with his necklace but hides it from the referee, so it's not a DQ. The match is just Lawler beating up Apollo and then taunting the crowd. Rinse, repeat. Apollo is by far the bigger guy, but he doesn't wrestle like a big wrestler. Jerry's kid somehow gets a busted lip but still dances like he's happy about it. In fact, he keeps on dancing, so much so that Apollo rolls him up and pins him for the 3. What an idiot. What a horrible match and what a goofball. How could they ever think this guy was a main eventer? I'd say the most modern comparison to Lawler that I can think of would be Robbie E. They're both boring in the ring, they both have annoying facial expressions, and they both have stupid hairdos. Bryan loses it after the match and chokes out Don West. Look, there's the Virgin Timekeeper again. He still looks exactly the same. Well, it's only been a week. What do you expect? He's not been on the Atkins diet, has he? Truth comes out next, but he's still billed as K-Crush, and he gets a big reaction from the fans. He gets a mic and says that from now on we need to refer to him as the Truth. His promo is so intense and he says that no one will be able to control him anymore. He talks about all the great people that have been held back and he compares himself to all of them, including OJ Simpson. He hasn't officially played the race card at this point, but he's inferring a lot of things. Monty Brown comes out to interrupt him and tells him to stop claiming to be held back and challenges him to a match. Truth makes out like he doesn't want to fight him and then he calls Monty an Uncle Tom sellout. This isn't a match though and Monty Brown ends up powerbombing him. Seems to be the same pattern with Truth every week. He always ends up getting beaten up, but it doesn't seem to be hurting his status. Next up we have a Nwa Tna interview of AJ Styles and Jerry Lynn, but no audio is playing, it's just Nwa Tna's big mouth flapping like a bass fish. Out of the blue, AJ Styles apologises to Jerry Lynn and tells him how much he respects him. They say that they'll be on the same page tonight. Just like that. They were having a blood feud, how can they suddenly put the brakes on? It doesn't even make sense after the stuff they've done to each other. And that tag match is up next. It's the 3 Flying Elvises this time. Jimmy's back. Sonny is going to be on commentary and Jorge doesn't even seem bothered that Sonny left him to get beaten up on the last show. Lynn and Styles come out together unified. Jimmy Wayne Yang and Jerry Lynn have a great exchange. This team has missed Jimmy for the last few shows. Styles springs from the top but Jimmy catches him on his knee. We have a great match going on along here, but Sonny Siaki is on commentary making it unbearable to listen to. I lost track of the amount of times he says his name and talks in the third person. Siaki clotheslines Styles on the outside despite not being in the match. The Elvises destroy Styles with a double dive from the top and Lynn is busted open. It isn't looking good for the champions. Jerry Lynn suddenly sneaks into the ring and scores the pinfall. Styles was perched on the top and he was about to hit the spiral tap. He doesn't look happy about this. Styles sulks and walks off. What a baby. Nwa Tna suddenly says, "It's time for jive talking," like we're supposed to know what that means. This is the first ever TNA talk show and it's hosted by the Disco Inferno making his debut. Get used to him, he's going to be a main character going forward for the next couple of years. He talks about what an amazing career he's had because he beat Barry Horowitz several times. Disco then calls AJ a glorified professional somersault artist. He also says that he's going to teach Ken Shamrock how to have a personality and the crowd cheer. He also says that he hopes to help Jerry Lynn look younger. This goes on for a while. The next match is a tag match. It's the team of Simon Diamond and Johnny Swinger. This really is ECW Mark II, isn't it? I don't really like these guys. They're taking on Monty Brown, who still has the Abyss theme music, and Primetime Elix Skipper. This is a team I can get behind. Unfortunately, it had me falling asleep, and the less said the better. Monty Brown wins with the Alpha Bomb. Don't know if this will be a team going forwards. Suddenly Truth comes in and starts choking Monty Brown out of his little belt. Skipper does absolutely nothing here and they say it was a setup. So much for that team. Goldilocks is backstage with Stand Up and Shut Up. I can't really get across the things they said in their promo, but apparently their girlfriend slash sister is missing. Shut Up says he wants a match with someone so he threatens the bodybuilder. He challenges Joe Steroid to a match. My expectations for this one is nothing. It's Shut Up versus Joe Steroid. The Dups tell Nwa Tna who they're facing and Nwa Tna goes along with it and says,
"Some big musclehead guy from the back."
Joe Steroid, aka Ian Harrison, comes out looking pretty scary. This guy is just so ugly, it's what makes him scary. His head is about 5 different shapes at once. Here we go, this one's going to be a classic. It's not actually that bad, to be fair. Shut Up almost pins him. Ian gets a lot of good power moves in, but the crowd pretty much hate it, and they're so silent that you can hear a pin drop. Ian Harrison gets a power slam, the referee then botches the pin, and then Stand Up runs in and they throw the match out. Ian Harrison snaps their little wooden board across his knee. Did you enjoy Joe Steroid's debut, guys? No? Well, that's the last time you'll see him in TNA anyway, so shove it. Backstage, Jarrett is fighting with the security again, and Ken Shamrock is there, and there's about 50 security nerds, and I have no idea what's going on. Main event time, Sabu comes out to challenge for the world title. For some reason this is a ladder match, I must have completely missed it. Ken Shamrock was fairly chilled out for the first few shows, but hanging around in TNA is slowly making him lose the plot. Dealing with slapnuts every week can do that to a man. So it's Ken Shamrock versus Sabu, not a match you'd ever expect to see. Sabu has a broken nose and Shamrock kicks him in it. Sabu starts beating up Shamrock. I keep forgetting this is a ladder match. Sabu does eventually get the ladder, so Shamrock boots it into his face. Sabu sets Shamrock up on a table outside. He then gets into the ring and springboards to the outside and flips, but Shamrock moves and Sabu crashes through the table. Damn. Shamrock climbs the ladder and has the belt in his hands. Suddenly the lights go out and Malice runs out and climbs up the ladder. Malice chokeslams Shamrock, and then he goes up the ladder and takes the belt. The show then ends with Malice walking away with the title belt in his hands. I would stake an entire hawk feather that Malice ends up giving this title belt to Jeff Jarrett, when it would be so much more effective to have Malice take it for himself. And by the way, this would be the first thing that seriously didn't make sense on TNA, because on my last video, Malice and Jeff Jarrett ended the show fighting in the crowd, and that was never resolved. Will Malice be the first victim of slapnuts? Tune in next week to find out. And if you don't do that, I'll hit you with a brick.